We have to make sure that everything is protected in this world of like physical side channels and architectural side channels.
Welcome to Shielded, the last line of cyber defense by PQ Shield, the podcast where we are moving the conversation around post-quantum cryptography from the why to the how. I'm Joe Lintzen, your host, and I'm here to guide you through the challenges, innovations, and solutions that will help your organization stay secure in the quantum era. Let's future-proof your defenses together. Today on Shielded, the last line of cyber defense, we are joined by Ferhat Yaman, a security researcher at AMD's Product Security Office, whose cutting-edge work sits at the intersection of hardware security, post-quantum cryptography, and AI privacy. As quantum computing rapidly approaches practical viability, organizations face a critical window to future-proof their security infrastructure, not only at the software level, but also deep inside the hardware that underpins AI and cryptographic systems. Ferhat's research, including groundbreaking demonstrations of AI model extraction via electromagnetic side channel attacks on hardware accelerators, now that's a mouthful, reveals stark vulnerabilities that many organizations don't yet fully grasp. His expertise in securing hardware implementations of quantum-resistant cryptography and protecting AI privacy offers crucial and actionable insights for those aiming to stay ahead of quantum threats. Quantum readiness isn't just about adopting new algorithms. It's about understanding the practical realities and risks involved in hardware deployments today. Ferhat, welcome to Shielded. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to inviting me, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So Ferhat, I mean, originally you are from Istanbul, Turkey, but I understand you call Boston home now. Now I want to know, what time of year is it that you miss Turkey the most?
Yeah, it's the spring is the best time in the Turkey. So yeah, it's not that hot, not that cold, and everything is blowing. And even the Istanbul, like you have the Turkish coffee and tea, and in the nights, the breathing. So yeah, it's definitely missing part.
That's lovely. Yeah. So that's the fine ground stuff, right? That you cook and then it accumulates at the bottom. It's like, right? Yeah, nice and sweet.
Correct.
Great. So besides coffee and the climate, I'm sure that the Turkish cuisine also plays a role because there's some fantastic food options in Istanbul and around.
All
Right?
right. Yes, yeah, that is I mean, all year long, it's like not the relation with the weather. So yeah, so I always miss the like Turkish food, and my wife and I was planning to like bring that home side of it, like home deliciousness. But yeah, we are always missing the essence of it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So besides your, geographical journey, of course, your career journey is fascinating as well. Going from academia to now AMD, always with a focus on side channel analysis and post-quantum cryptography. Could you start by sharing how your background and research on hardware vulnerabilities and AI privacy really intersect with the urgent challenges that organizations are facing today as they hopefully prepare for post-quantum cryptography?
Yeah, I actually started working on this like almost more than 8 years ago. So yeah, it was like more on the AI privacy side of it, but it actually introduced me a lot of on the lattice crypto. So this is like one of the main building blocks in the post quantum cryptography, but it was also used in the like AI privacy, which is called like homomorphic encryption. So that basically also allows us to like do some processing and on the data without decrypting it. So that is also something that is enormous for us actually. So that was I was started like 8 years ago, and then it just like pulled me in this. So yeah, when I see that like, okay, we are doing some processing in like without decrypting anything, and we are not seeing any like confidential data, and then it moved into the lattice crypto. Once I started working on this, and then I realized there is this standardization is going on with like nest, and then I just continue working on this basically. Yeah.
So really those things culminating, coming together and
Yes,
and
and
really,
then
yeah.
yeah, it was like after like on this after when I realized there is this standardization. So there was a postdoc back in Turkey in my university while I was undergrad. So he was kind of invited. Okay, you are working on this lattice crypto side of it. So okay, why we are not focusing on this post quantum crypto? And there is this crystal sky bridge, so which is quite similar. And then since I have some kind of hardware design part of it, and we start moving on like, okay, how we can optimize things and how we can like kind of leverage the hardware design, or like to introduce some kind of small optimizations on the arithmetic stuff of the lattice crypto. So, and we were actually was able to design like a fast polynomial multiplication hardware for the crystal skybers. So it was a kind of um, groundbreaking work at the time, because that was kind of there's a like modular reduction unit in the PQC that you are basically you have to like design specifically for crystal skybers. So that basically leverage our design, and then there are more into it. But yeah, that was the kind of the more nuance on this work actually.
The new nuance and in the lattice-based world, yeah. And of course, I mean, we're talking about side channel attacks, and of course they're nothing new, right? I mean, they've always been around. They've long posed risks to any type of cryptographic implementation in the classical world, and just the same in the new lattice-based post-quantum world. So I think as PQC algorithms begin to more broadly be deployed in hardware, what are some of the unique challenges and vulnerabilities that are introduced by those quantum resistant cryptographic designs in hardware in particular?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, one of like there are a lot of things like if you implement those PQC algorithms in like software, there are different challenges. If you design in hardware, it is always a different challenge. So you have to design in a way that you're not leaking anything regarding your secret key or any information regarding the operations on as well. So my focus was more on the like side channel analysis of those algorithms, even in classic crypto as well, like AES, RSA. So I was also mostly doing those works before like starting AMD and in here as well. So our work is mostly looking for the like if there is a key processing happening, like secret key processing or execution happening during the operations. Is there some kind of like side channel we can leverage it? So mostly we are looking into the physical side channels, like overconsumption of the device or electromagnetic radiations coming from the device, and we are looking of those like traces, like we call this, of power and electromagnetic radiations, and then try to kind of correlate into some kind of hypothetical model we have, and then try to find the way the secret key out of it. That is the our objective on it. But in the PQs, yeah, go
so
ahead.
you look for a specific pattern that looks like that could be the same format as you'd expect a key to look like, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's mostly for example, for let's say in like in the let's say in the lithium algorithm, which is the like signature MLDSA. Yeah, this is the one that generally like focused on. So, for example, in the key generation, and then as well as the like signature part of it. So there is this key operations happening. So you can basically pivot your like execution and during the polynomial multiplication, and where actually the secret key is generated or secret key is getting executed to generate the signature. So you can basically see where it starts and where it ends, and based on the multiplication operations happening in between, so you can kind of design a power model and based on this. So it is also important that like if we are actually like introducing some kind of small optimization, this could also like kind of lead some different kind of leakages or faulty parts as well.
So optimizing for speed, for instance, could lead to spikes in power consumption that then
Yeah, that is correct. So for example, a recent work in this one is find out that like if we design a specific module reduction algorithms, so for Kyber or Dilithium, we may figure out there is some part of in the addition unit of the like the module reduction part. So you can kind of pivot that specific part, and you can basically measure the like what kind of key is used during that operation, basically. Yeah, that was the recent work on this one.
the very So I guess as much as the protection mechanisms need to change, do you also see that the side channel attacks itself, do they need to adapt and evolve in this given context as well?
Yeah, I mean, you can combine different attacks, definitely, and you can also like leverage the post-quantum algorithm solutions as well. So like, for example, one of the attacks is like also using like cryptanalytic part of post-quantum cryptography. And also some of them is using the side channel analysis and they obtain information from that. And then they combine both of it. And then they can kind of design a new way of attack of this one. So this was a couple of years ago, that was the work that been done actually.
And in that research, did you find anything unexpected, like looking for specific vulnerabilities in those implementations of quantum resistant hardware design?
I personally recently started working on the like open source algorithm, the Caliptra, which is a root of trust algorithm like design developed by AMD, Microsoft, NVIDIA. It's a kind of a consortium to develop this root of trust hardware design. And then it's basically involve a lot of classic crypto as well as the post-quantum crypto in both of them. And I was recently started looking at it, and I did not actually like find any leakage so far, but there are some mechanisms. It shows there was a recent attack on this one done by researchers from, I think, Florida, Atlantic Florida University, so that they were kind of figure out the way of how can they disclose the key. We will also look into this attack, and I think we can try to replicate, and then if we can improve on it, so we'll look at into that work as well.
So you said with Caliptra, it's using classical as well as post quantum algorithms. So is it using hybrid cryptography?
Yeah, it is actually like providing the both options to the users. Yeah, it's like as you can see that the post-quantum cryptography deployment is also kind of a different thing. You have to like kind of provide both of the users that you have this classic crypto still in place, and then okay, we are starting implementing more secure ones. So we have this option as well. So like you can have to give that option to the users as well. So that is the idea on this.
So then I can imagine on sort of the hardware level, with like limited resources being available, then size and size requirements become a topic as well.
Yes. I mean, um, that will be like important, like how you can combine and then how you can also like provide both of them in the same platform. So those are going to be very important. And then, yeah, it is a kind of a regulation game. Yeah, we can understand that one. I think that was one of your previous podcasts you're discussing about. So, but yeah, definitely for hardware as well, we have to have this option and availability for this
Right.
post-quantum crypto algorithms.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So I guess, in the experience that you've gained over the years working on those hardware security research projects at AMD, what are some of the main critical practical steps that, if I'm an organization, like where should I prioritize in my PQC hardware implementation, that I'm making sure that I'm resilient, ideally to, again, both classical and quantum era side channel attacks.
Yeah, in AMD perspective, we generally deploy those algorithms in mostly in bootloading, and but bootloader of the like whenever there's a secure boot of it. So we have to make sure that everything is verified correct. Yeah, operating system is or like other firmware components. We have to verify and validate before start loading it and executing it. So currently, yeah, we are using Crypto, and then we are actually have a plan to like moving forward with the like a deployment of post quantum crypto with the Caliptra and the others as well. So this is our kind of our perspective on this. But yeah, we'll actually use this like this use case, and also like there are different use cases you can also employ this post quantum cryptography in mostly for like even like you can just kind of put your in secure processor so that your operating system also can start using it, or your like x86 or like the ARM structure architecture could also use it, and this kind of gives an acceleration. So for like some of the works you're doing it, so that is also kind of a crucial step. Yeah, we are looking into it.
Right. And part of the work that you've done was also together with the team exposing the TPU extract attack on I think it was Google's Edge TPU, and that of course was a revelation on how electromagnetic. I think you used the term EMF earlier, right? So electromagnetic side channel analysis can leak AI model parameters. Maybe you could explain why this type of attack also matters we were talking about AI privacy, right? And what this implies about the security of AI accelerators.
Yes, yeah, this was the work I started during my master's before joining the AMD. So this is regarding the work. So the important part of it, okay, we can do this side channel attacks on cryptographic algorithms, so then we can reveal the secret key on this one. But okay, what if we use this attacks on machine learning algorithms, or like we reveal like some of the machine learning models, which is important for some of the companies because they're spending lots of hours to train those, and then it becomes kind of a IP or like yeah, so they don't want to share it. So like for example, you can think of this like for example in self-driving car. So you put that model in that in that car, and then it's running, or you can just tap on it and then you can just start doing measurements on it or power consumption because this is your car. And then you just want to like disclose it. So this could be kind of the use case for it. So the the R part, like the R research was more deeply on focusing on a bit more, okay, we can do some attacks on to reveal the hyperparameters of the models, like how many layers on that neural network has, or how many nodes we have on that neural network, what kind of neural nodes they're using it. So that was kind of our focus. But we were also trying to go deep on this. So to reveal the exact parameters that is used on each of those layers. But it was a bit hard to attack in that specific model hardware for the HTTP. But we successfully extracted the my colleagues were actually doing the most of the job. And I was actually starting the part of it, but our work is on this mostly revealing the hyperparameters of like what kind of nodes on that layer, or what kind of is it like convolutional neural network or fully connected neural network, or is it like another additional layer, or is it linear layer or non-linear layer? So these kind of information we can extract for each layer, and then we can basically disclose each of those layers during the template attacking. So this is the kind of online attacking method, so that each layer we can able to okay, we extracted this part. Okay, we know this is the fully connected layer with 100 nodes on it. And then we can do the next layer attack, and it goes until the end of the execution. So, and then we can basically have a rough idea of the model, and then maybe that could kind of gives an idea of the people who are actually trying to extract that information. So that was the kind of important part that the company should take more care on this to design this kind of hardware.
And all that is purely possible by measuring the electromagnetic fields that are emitted by the TPU in this example.
Yeah, I actually spent a lot of time having that environment. So it was a kind of all tear and blood.
Oh, you bet. Yeah. And then with that information, were you able to, I don't know, is that the right term? Could you reconstruct that model in a way, or?
Yeah, you have the hyperparameters, so that is some information. But yeah, you have to have kind of train the model again with that inputs, because otherwise you cannot have the whole model. But that basically improves a lot of steps doing the training, because in training you are trying different models, different layers, and then how many nodes. But it basically skip all those hyperparameter finding steps, and then if you have just okay, this is the optimal model that they find it, okay, we can train on this. So then you can just train and obtain that specific parameters on them.
And so, of course, you just said it, right? I mean, AI models in most cases contain a lot of either sensitive information or intellectual property and data. So I think I'd be curious to hear on hardware level mitigation strategies. Like, of course, there's cryptography. Of course, there's encryption. Of course, there's, you mentioned homomorphic encryption. There's obfuscation techniques. So what are the techniques that you feel are best to protect against those leakage attacks?
All right. Yeah, there are 3 or 4 different way of doing it to doing. So one is kind of a masking. So the masking is kind of you are trying to put a reverse kind of card to the system. So whenever the system behaves, you're just doing the reverse part of it, as in the masking part. So, and then whatever the leakage is produced during that operation, it basically diminished by the other circuit. So this is kind of the area part of it. You can just put more design and hardware into it, and then basically the secret information that is revealed during the operation could be diminished, and that was the one. The other one is like, for example, hiding or shuffling. So hiding part is like, it is not diminishing the leakage, but it makes harder for attacker to find specific combinations. So like, for example, if you have a straightforward implementation in mind, but once you figure this out and then while trying to attack, you obtain some stuff, but at the end, whatever you obtain is not exactly is implemented. So that was the kind of obfuscation you can introduce on this, so that prevent the attacker on this. I think, yeah, that is the main kind of. And the other one is the maybe like introducing some randomness onto system. So instead of hiding, so you can maybe put another system on timing differences on the execution, or like just introduce more kind of unknown part of the design, so that basically behaves differently than normal. Then that could be the way of attacking. Could be diminished.
Right. And then a combination of those three, so masking, shuffling, and introducing randomness probably leads to the best results.
Yeah, that is definitely the like it comes down to the decision of the like what is the requirement for that design, because you always like limited with the design or the timing, so you have to give some kind of a decision based on that. So and that was the kind of a driving factor, like if you are trying to implement some countermeasures.
Always a cost to it, right? As well, if you
Yeah,
you want to make something very secure but very slow, well, then yeah, you can certainly do that, right? But I mean, if we're talking about bootloaders, we're talking about what, milliseconds that you wanna spend on this.
yes. Yeah, definitely. I don't want to like what my computer takes more than a minute. Right?
We just
Then
don't have the patience anymore. I I remember the days when it was, you switch on your computer and then you go grab a coffee, or by the
yeah,
time you're
those are
back
the
here.
times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, I mean, we've been talking about, homomorphic encryption a little bit. So I'd be curious to hear your take on, how to apply that to machine learning and protecting the AI privacy in AI workloads. And of course, again, specifically, given that you work for a hardware vendor, specifically, and you said it earlier, software is very different from hardware, right? So in those hardware implementations.
So the homomorphic encryption basically um, does the same kind of processing in the encrypted environment. Even if you have the encrypted data, um, without decrypting it, you can get the regarding functional information you need. You can take that out of that data, but you don't have to see everything on that data. So that was kind of that is the essence of the homomorphic encryption. So, but it is still not practical to do that kind of evaluation and execution. So the people actually working on this more than like 15 years. So because I get started with the 2009 PhD thesis from like Gen 3. He is the kind of the holy grail of on this, like the find this one that could be still doable. And then it started from on. So, but yeah, from all those 15 years, um, we developed softwares, but it is still not actually particularly doable. In order to do that, we have to accelerate or design new hardware based on the need for the homomorphic encryption. So that is the one thing. So, and then even our applications have to be kind of revolve around. We have to think differently and implement differently for the homomorphic encryption. So for example, one of my works regarding to that, like we have to like design a genome analysis data, and then we were trying to classify the tumors based on the tumor type of based on the like the genome data of the patients. So we don't know anything about the genome data of that patient, but we were able to classify the kind of the type of the possible tumor type of that specific patient. So this was actually find a way to think it differently, because normally we were doing some kind of nonlinear operations, but nonlinear operations hard to design in homomorphic encryption. You have to come up with a way that you can do these nonlinear operations in a homomorphically without like spending or like introducing much latency. So that was the thing we had done previously on this. So, and then currently we are looking more on the like, okay, we have this software stacks or hardware stacks to use AI. So how we can leverage that AI part on the like homomorphic encryption. So in AMD, we are more focusing on this, and our recent work is like we're using quantization and like pruning methods for the like the machine learning models. So can we also leverage these optimization introduced for AI in the homomorphic encryption space? So and then we observed that there is this a tremendous increase if we can design those optimizations for the homomorphic encryption as well. So we can see some improvement on the execution, and then we can decrease the like number of recurrent operation. So that was the thing.
I think it's fascinating to see, with homomorphic encryption. Also, you said the idea is, more than 15 years old, and that just shows how, how those timelines, evolve in the cryptographic research, and until there is a practical use case, and then, technology still needs to catch up for us to really reap the benefits of things that are, theoretically, mathematically possible, and until we have a real world use case and can apply those things, and frankly, environments that this can run on too.
Yeah, definitely. For example, AMD is designing a lot of hardware, like recent announcements on the like MI350 and like MI400. So those are the products they're accelerating AI. But in our case as well, so like, can we leverage this information on GPUs that also uses homomorphic encryption to accelerate it? Or can we introduce some kind of a software stack or compiler stack that leverages more optimizations for that specific hardware, so that we can also use that information and apply to the different hardware architectures? So that was the like the moving forward for the homomorphic encryption space. You have to look into those
Right.
parts.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess, pivoting a little bit back to side channel analysis. Of course, there's tools to support in that work. So, for instance, Keysight's side channel analysis suite, I think, has been used and played a crucial role in your research in particular. So from where you sit, how important are those testing and validation tools for organizations that are developing quantum resistant hardware?
All right. Yeah. I mean, we are partnered with Keysight for a long time. Like, I've been using their tools, like Keysight and Rescue. It was before Rescue. And I've been using their tools, like for in academia before joining AMD, and then we are using still right now to use these side channel attacks. There's also some open source attacks, and for example, open source tools, yeah, such as like ChipWhisperer. So this is like another one that also like used false injection attacks and such some analysis as well. And there is, for example, we are also partnering with Ansys to do like analysis in pre-silicon. So this was a recent work we have done. We have kind of leveraged their tools to kind of design a new AES attack on classic crypto, so that can we also leverage this kind of attacks on the pre-silicon while using their tools. So that was like variety of tools that we can leverage. But yeah, there are still a lot of different tools out there, and these are the things that we have evaluated and used so far. And yeah, I mean, in side channel space is like developing immensely. I wasn't expecting that much, but even like a lot of people didn't know about like side channel, but actually these are like most on the physical side channel attacks. People mostly know about like spectrum meltdown, more the like architectural side channel attacks. So those are the like the ones that actually hide the like side channel, and then it also like kind of introduced on this one, and then it becomes a more recent tool, and everyone actually trying even with like open source tools and cheaper models. So this means that like everyone actually can start doing these kind of analysis and attacks without like spending too much money on it. So we have to make sure that everything is protected in this world of like physical side channels and architectural side channels. So that is the thing we have to take care about it, definitely.
Yeah, and I think your point on how front and center side channel attacks are nowadays is probably a combination of in the past they were probably much more expensive to conduct than they are now, and then also the threat actors probably have changed as well. Where 10, 15 years ago, we weren't thinking too much about state actors and organized crimes, who, both have like very deep pockets. So that certainly plays a role in the proliferation of that being talked about as well.
Yes, definitely.
So I think, besides post-quantum cryptography and homomorphic encryption, that's like already very much, forward-looking. Is there any other area of innovation and research direction that you're excited about at the moment, and especially thinking about post-quantum cryptography and protecting the privacy of AI models, of course?
Yeah, these are the things that mostly interesting for me. But yeah, I mean, definitely anything on AI is also like kind of always like spot on. So like whatever happens on the AI, you have to take care of it. And like, so like it is so fast moving, so you cannot track of it. So, and, and definitely I always looking into like what kind of uh, parts we can use that AI into the security space or site analysis. That one of my work actually on this is like on my master thesis about it. So I actually use like one of the recent LLMs, ChatGPT, to do some kind of agent on this one, like site analysis. So I was kind of fine tune that part of a GPT to like behave as a like agent, and based on the outcome of our testing and like the models I've trained it. So it was kind of giving a decision that like, okay, you have to do like collect more traces to attack on this, or you have to try this different model to attack it. So it's kind of the way of attack. So this basically creates more attack surfaces for attacker. And then that was also, there's also like the positive side of it that shows you that which you didn't think about it. So like the way you think, and they're also like kind of countermeasures they're proposing. But yeah, that's still not that much powerful. what they're going there. So to use this like different agents to discuss about it, about the security, and like come up with that like a more secure way of doing it. So that is always like kind of crazy, but yeah,
Yeah, but I
it's
mean,
interesting.
it advances so quickly, right? I mean,
All right.
every day makes such a huge difference in the way those models evolve. Yeah, for sure. So maybe you can give some recommendations for organizations that are beginning to explore hardware post-quantum implementations. What are some concrete actions that you recommend to prioritize over the next 12 to 24 months to get to a good security posture in that regard?
Yeah, for hardware security, yeah, it's definitely you have always limited with the area or timing to give some kind of a decision. So which quantum software, like post-quantum algorithm, you have to like provide or like support is also kind of an important decision. But at some point, like we will all going to use the post-quantum cryptography, and the hardware space, you cannot go back and change everything on the software, as in software side of it. So you have to implement everything in the first day, and then make sure everything is working correctly, and then there is no way of attack on in perspective of side channel or not any other way of doing it. And maybe if we can have more into account that, like if we can shift left the like post side channel security evaluations to the like pre-silicon era, and then before like taping out the chip, so that would be like kind of the attack could be like more resilient to the side channels at least. Then for example, in AMD we are doing this, like doing the security analysis on physical level, that we are actually taking those actions or like side channel analysis before it could leak in the post silicon. So that is always we are looking into it, and as a hardware developer, and like they have to take into account on this one, and then always listen to the security guy on this company.
He's your friend. He's not trying to slow things down. It's just like, security is not a bolt-on. Even more true in the hardware business, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but sometimes we're like more precautious on this. Like, okay, we have to design in this day, or like we implement this one, or we have to take care of this. But if we even like a tiny optimizations that we are think that they are not harmful, at some point it becomes harmful in a way that. So that's why you have to make sure that whatever your design have, you have to run those tests for the like side channel as well in the pre-silicon, so that makes sure everything is smooth.
Fascinating. Well, thanks so much, Ferhat. I think one last point, maybe I always like to ask where our listeners can follow your work, or learn more about your research and get even more insights into hardware security, post-quantum cryptography, homomorphic encryption, AI privacy.
Yeah, sure. You can look into my LinkedIn, or like mostly I have a website, but I'm not updating it. I always like writing a blog about it, like for homomorphic encryption and how to deploy the like Lattice Crypto and so on and so forth. But I always post coordinate, and I actually have a lot of different things to do. One, is like, probably if I have a publication on my research, we have still doing an AMD. So if we have published on this, probably we'll share on this our like company website, or like even for in my website or Ethan.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining today, Ferhat. This has been very insightful. Thanks for sharing your know-how.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and that was a pleasure for me.
The quantum era is already here. With the right tools, the right knowledge, and the right mindset, together we can face it head on. To find out more about PQ Shield and how our cutting-edge solutions can help you secure your data against the quantum threat, visit pqshield.com. Make sure to search for Shielded, the last line of cyber defense, in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Don't forget to click subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at PQ Shield, thanks for listening.